Okay, so this is Learning Target 12, Factoring Quadratics Part 2. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you can factor without using the box method or without using the boxes that we did in the last video. Okay, so if you remember from yesterday's video, we're looking for, in these cases, this is going from standard form, we're trying to get it into factored form. And if you remember, there was some multiplication going on, right? And then there was some addition that we wanted to try to get to this middle term. Okay, and going through yesterday's videos, you may have already kind of noticed that there is a way to do this without using the boxes, but definitely is, boxes are totally fine to use if you're more comfortable with that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so remember, if we're trying to get this into factored form, we know that eventually it's going to look like this. And we know from yesterday's video, we kind of started out, we know that x multiplied by x is going to give us that x squared term. Okay, from there, we're looking at, we want to know the factors of 12. So what numbers are going to give us positive 12 when we list them out? And remember, we want it to add up to this middle term. And you can maybe run through them in your head a little bit, but it's just good practice to try to get these written down. So 1 and 12, negative 1, negative 12, 6 and 2, negative 6, negative 2, 4 and 3, and negative 4 and negative 3 are going to all give us a positive 12 if we were to multiply. And looking at our middle term, remember we want it to add up to the middle term. It's going to be this one right here. So we want positive 6 and positive 2. So this would be plus 6 and plus 2. All right. Okay, second example. In this case, we're looking for our factors of 18, positive 18. Okay, and if you wanted to pause the video, feel free to do that. Give it a try on your own and just check in. All right, so 18, negative 9, negative 2, 9 and 2. We've got 6 and 3, negative 6, negative 3. And yeah, if you get to, you're working through these and you're just kind of checking as you go to see. And if you see it, go ahead and grab it there. And you can kind of stop making the factors because some of these have tons of factors. So negative 6 and negative 3 are going to be the two factors that would add up to a negative 9, which would give us that negative 9 term. Okay. Now, with this one, I didn't do it with the first one. Don't always have to do this, but, you're taking a test or you just want to make sure you've got it correct. You can always just use the method from last week and go ahead and multiply these out just to see if it does give you that. So I'm going to do that on this one, on this example, just to double check to make sure we've got it right. So let's say you did it, and I'm not quite sure if it's going to work out. You can always just use the box method, or you could use the distributor property just to check. So x multiplied by x would be x squared. X multiplied by negative 3 would be negative 3x. Then we're going to go down here and do our other one. Distribute our negative 6. So negative 6 multiplied by x would be negative 6x. Negative 6 multiplied by negative 3 would be positive 18. And then we would just go ahead and combine those like terms in the middle. Negative 3 and negative 6 would be negative 9. Plus 18. And so that's just a check, right? And you could see that it does match the original equation in standard form. All right, another example. Okay, factors of negative 24. And again, as I'm listing these, because there's a lot for these ones too, or this one, I'm just going to be keeping an eye out. If I see something that's going to add up to 10, then You know, you can kind of think of it that way. I mean, you could maybe even think, 1 plus 24 or negative 1 plus negative 1 plus 24. Those aren't going to get you to 10. So if you wanted to just skip those and not list them, that would be fine. 6 and 4, we kind of seeing the magic number there. So negative 6 multiplied by 4. And actually, since this is a negative 24, that's not going to work, is it? So 6 and negative 4, either one of those isn't going to work. Maybe thinking about it at first, 6 plus 4, but neither of those are going to give you 10. So just keep going. Negative 12 and 2, that would give you negative 10 if you add them. And then, yeah, that's going to be the one we want, right? That's going to give us a positive 10 if we were to add them together. Okay, so x plus 12, x minus 2, and there we go. Okay, and again, you could always check that just by doing the distributor property, just to check to see if you do get that in standard form. Okay, all right, last example. Factors of negative 32. Okay. Again, 1 and 32 it's not going to get us anywhere close to negative 4. So don't have to list those. I mean, you could if you wanted to. What else gets us to 32? Negative 8, positive 4, get us to negative 32. And that looks like it's what we'd want, right? So if we did 8 and negative 4, that also gets us to negative 32, but that would get us a positive 4. And we want a negative 4 term. So that's going to be what we want, right? This would be 8. X minus 8, x plus 4. Okay, and again, you could always just check that and see if that works and get you back into standard form. And remember, what is this allowing us to do? In standard form, remember that gives us some information, gives us an A value, B value, which right now we don't really know what that does. And then it gives us our y-intercept. Remember, our factored form allows us to see where the zeros are, where this quadratic function would hit the x-axis, right? It would hit at positive 8. It would also hit at negative 4. Those would be the x-intercepts of that quadratic function. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Check out the video, or check out the practice after this. And one other thing I was going to mention, I don't know if anyone's thought about this or maybe questioned this a little bit as we're going through. What's been the A value for everything in the last 2 videos? Yeah, the A value has always been 1, right? And when I say A value, remember that's this coefficient right here to x squared. We haven't done any examples in the last 2 videos where this is anything other than 1. And you may be asking yourself, well, does this method work when the A value is not 1? Let's say this was like 3x squared. And the answer to that is, yeah, this method would not work. Okay, so there's going to be other ways that we can factor quadratics when the A value is not 1. So this method's only going to work when the A value is 1. We'll have to do something else when it's not. Okay, thanks, guys.